We're going to have a very interesting panel. Since last year, we started doing some panels that we call both sides of the table, in which we invite an investor and a startup that close the deal and that work together for some time, just to give us some information about like how the process looks like for every one of them, what is buzz and what's real thing. So we're going to do the same thing now with one of the biggest investments in the startups in Romania, and we're going to invite on stage Daniel Lynch, partner at 3TS from the Catalyst Fund. Thank you, Daniel. Let's just get this out of here. Bad fashion. Okay, and now we're going to have the founders of 123 Contact Form. I'm going to invite on stage Tudor Bastea and Florin Cornianu. Florin, Tudor. And I should give you a mic. There you go. Thanks. Then you just get this light. So, is this good or? Great. Guys, thank you for accepting the invitation. Thank you for traveling here. Daniel, you came from abroad. Thank you, guys. You came from all the way from Oradea. I hope you. Sorry. Oh, damn. Sorry. From Timisoara. Is Adi in the room? Because I was thinking of him. Adi Gara is the first angel investor in 123 Contact Form, right? Great. So sorry. Okay. So. Let me just, this is, yeah, so I would like to ask you first, could you please tell us like what 123 Contact Form is and what do you do?
Apparently we got the mic first. So no problem, we provide an online platform where people can build forms and surveys without having technical skills. You just drag and drop them and you have the final product that you put on your website, on a blog or on a Facebook page, wherever you want. And you also connect it with popular services that are available out there like Salesforce, MailChimp, and I don't know, Google, whatever.
Okay, thank you. I have to confess, the first time I heard about you, I didn't know you guys. I was like, they're doing contact forms, like is this a thing like we used to code? And so what's different? Why is that this special? Who are your customers? Like bring me a bit into the business.
Yeah, first the name, it was a very poor choice of it. I don't know why we selected it, probably because of the search engine optimization opportunities, you know, like it was easy to get on the first page of Google with contact forms as a keyword. And it worked great, but now it's hurting us a bit. The thing is with our product, you can build any type of web form or survey. And by that I mean from a simple contact form to an event registration form, to an order form that's connected with a payment processor, and you can collect money or sell stuff. We went a bit further with quizzes and polls and of course surveys. But in terms of customers, we got the usual small businesses, so it's definitely a B2B product. And lately we got our fair share of enterprise customers.
Okay, thank you. So just to set the record straight, Daniel, so could you please, I know personally that 3TS and Catalyst is very active in Romania. Could you please like tell us a little bit about you as a VC fund and your activity in the region?
Okay, 3TS, we manage a couple different types of funds for the region. I'm based in Prague. We also have an office here in Bucharest. For the Romanian market, we have a fund called Catalyst Romania. It does investments between $500,000 and 1.5 million euros. We're targeting technology companies, IT, digital media, software, e-commerce businesses here just in the Romanian market. And we've done 7 deals to date, including 123 Contact Form, as well as Vector Watch, which was just announced yesterday. So that's what we have focused on the Romanian market. And then for the region, we have a 108 million euro fund that does Series B financings for the same strategy, digital media, TMT, technology deals. And we do rounds between 3 million and 10 million euros per company. And our funding comes from Cisco. We're connected in a number of markets in the States. We've taken companies on the IPO on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange in the US, and we've moved 5 or 6 companies already to the Silicon Valley. And so our strategy is to find local leaders and global challengers within Central Europe and amplify them both with our capital and with our network so we can help them globalize their businesses.
So that strikes two more questions from my phone. Thank you. So, just first thing. So you.
Sorry,
no,
did I answer them all?
Yeah, yeah, we're done. We're done. Thank you, Daniel. No, so one thing that always puzzled me, like, how did you came to discuss with 123 contact form? Okay, poorly chose name about a possible investment. So how did the court machine began?
Well, I think it happened. It might even happen 2 years ago here at How to Web. Bogdan Iordache actually made the introduction, and we hit it off very well. And I think we were very impressed with the management team. They already were thinking about the U.S. markets in South America and a Spanish version, and even out of Timisoara, they already had a global vision of both who their competitors are and where their place was in the market, and that was very interesting for us. Now, having said that, we had to spend a lot of time educating them about what does it mean to take a VC as a partner, and do we truly bring more than just money to the relationship? Are we a constructive partner? And so what we asked them to do is do your due diligence on us. Okay, VCs come in many different flavors, and you're taking on a partner, so you should actually find out what type of experience have other companies had with 3TS, and do we deliver what we promised? Do we add value? Are we a constructive partner? So I think they've spent quite a bit of time investigating us and our experience and our track record, and the entrepreneurs we've invested here in both locally in Romania and elsewhere to decide whether we were a fit for their needs going forward. So I think that's a good lesson learned here, that it has to be a fit both ways for the marriage to really work. And I think that was the fact that we did take the time to go through that process and get to know each other. I think it really helped in getting the deal done.
Is that true, Florin? So let me remind you, they spent a fair amount of time educating you. Why do you have to say that? No, so how did it look for you?
I was a bit puzzled because when I met Daniel last year, he asked me if I want to dance. So it was a bit tricky to understand, but indeed I can confirm that in the past 2 years we've been considering an investment, and I've been pitched by. This is probably not a good thing to tell you, but I've been pitched by a lot of VCs and investment funds, from big American names to local Europeans. The thing that helped us consider was the fact that we consider it as a good thing to work with someone close to us, like Bogdan and Marius and now Daniel and Pekka, which I recently met. And
these are all like partners, members
from 3TS. They were endorsed by companies like LogMeIn and Avangate, which we trusted a lot with their know-how. And further on, we knew that they took companies to US, which is one of our long-time goals. So yes, we investigated a lot, and I thank Tudor to that, because he used to search online for details about them. But the good thing is, even after the investment, the feeling is kind of the same. Like, they are good guys, and they have a good relationship with us. I mean, we were afraid they will come and, I don't know, struck the table like, guys, what have you been doing lately? This is not good. So we kind of thought about losing control, but that's not happening. At least from my point of view. Tudor, do you want to add? What's your feeling?
Yeah, I think it was very hard for us to accept the investment, mainly because we didn't have in Timisoara local examples which to have passed through this scenario. We only saw close examples in Bucharest. So after talking with other guys from Bucharest who have gone through an investment, like Avangate and the guys from Maven Hut, let's say, and others, we decided it can be a good idea to go forward, and then we accepted the dance invitation.
Okay, so just so I can be educated a bit, could you please break it down for me, like how it happened? So you were already 4 years old, right? Or
Yeah,
for 3 years, right? How
we-
did the business look like at that point? Like anything that would help me understand, like what was the product, what okay with everything? What made you decide? How did you decide that we want an investment or we need an investment? So what was the process? Just like help me understand.
Yeah. We started around 2008, and we started on our own feet. At that point, we were just the two of us. Then we started hiring people, and the company grew and grew. The revenues grew.
Was it bootstrapped? I know you took like
Yeah,
a small angel investment, but
exactly.
then was it like
Yeah, it was
organic?
mainly bootstrapped and with the help of Adrian Gheara after How to Web 2010.
Okay.
And we grew kind of organic. We doubled our revenue from yearly revenue from year to year. But after we passed the million, we thought it will be kind of hard to do this from now on, because it's very easy to double yourself from, I don't know, 100K to 200K, and it's much more different to double from 1 million to 2 millions or 10 millions. So we thought that the 3TS can help us with this, because they have a lot of experience. They invested in Avangate and LogMeIn, which are kind of similar to us, software as a service, and that was about it.
So takeaway, how I understand understanding now, you grew it as much as you could on your own, and then like we want to grow more, and for that we need some more capital and we need some more know-how. Was that like the process that you had?
Something like that.
Okay.
Can I add something here?
Yes, please.
So to better understand our thought process, in 2010 we had a very good looking product which was making about, I don't know, $5,000 a month, and it was just the two of us. So with half of that every month, things were doing great. Our wives bought a lot of clothes, so everything was fine. But we thought, what's the next step? I mean, can we take it alone to the next level? And we decided we could, but not necessarily manage that. So we got Adrian on board, whose expertise and know-how helped a lot. So it was kind of a similar process now when we were making a good amount of money here. We said, okay, what's the next step? Can we do it alone? Yes, we can do it, but it took us like 7 years to get here, and I really want to, I don't know, spend some time playing games, not necessarily working for another 7 years or 15 years on the same thing. So in order to make things happen faster, then we needed some expertise, and why not money?
Okay, just short mention, like, your wives, do they know about Catwalk? Because like, you know, it's a new app that's going to be big soon.
No, and I plan on keeping that app secret.
Okay, they're not monetizing it, so they can. So I understand what you think you're getting. Like, Daniel, how is it like from your side? What are you actually looking for? You're a fund. Obviously, you want to make money, but like, what's the strategy behind that?
Well, first of all, the chemistry is very important. And I think that is a, I think it became very quickly, the conversation turned into not, how much money do you need, but into what else can we bring to this relationship beyond money. I think that actually was, and that's the approach that we adopt inside 3TS, is what else, what do we need to bring to this company to amplify the business? Is it network of contacts? Do we need to bring in industry experts onto the board? Do we need to make introductions in the Silicon Valley? Are there partnerships that we need to look at? Are there acquisitions we need to help with? Because this is a, this is a company that's growing very fast in a very fast-growing market, and there are many problems to solve, that come with that growth, and that we can be both a sounding board. My colleague Marius Gaina is on the board of 123 Contact Forum, and they're working through these problems, or issues, I should say, every meeting and in between meetings to help with the construction of the future of the business. And I think that attitude and that approach, I think, is not only helps us win the deal, because I think we're selling our services, because for a VC, we understand that we're not the top of the food chain. We're not the ones creating value. These are the guys at the top of the food chain. They're the ones creating value. I think all of you who have your own companies out there should recognize that The VC is there to serve you. We're here to allocate capital, but we're not at the top of this relationship. And you know, with that approach, we understand that if we can work with the companies and provide them with capital, that it's in everybody's best interest, and we'll both achieve a better exit later.
So right now everybody seems like relaxed, but I know things were not like this, and they're never like this in any type of negotiation. So what should, like, from your side, what should an entrepreneur expect from when raising an investment from a VC? And if you could explain what's different from raising from an angel, because I know they're like very different things.
Maybe just preface that. This deal was not easy to close. It almost broke several times in the last, you know, of the marathon, the last several hundred meters, it almost broke several times. So I'll let you take that.
Great opening, thank you. What's left to say? Well, you cannot compare things. Like with Adrian, the deal was extremely simple, although not, but quite simple comparing to the VC. You need to have a very good lawyer and preferably someone with experience, because indeed, or I mean, no matter how you look at it, it's a negotiation. You have to get something and to give something in exchange and try to get the best deal for yourself. Or at least this is how you saw it. We saw it. And of course, it depends on other factors like, I don't know, the position the company is in, the trend, the team, everything that's related to that. But don't forget, in the end, everybody tries to get the best deal for themselves. Well, indeed, the deal broke several times, and we are kind of sorry for that, or not. but in the end, we got to common ground, like to a place everybody was comfortable with, hopefully. And there is one thing I want to add related a bit to the previous part. You know, with our experience so far with Marius and the guys, the team from 3TS, there is one thing that went beyond my expectations. You know, when everything goes well, everybody's friendly and everybody's happy. But when you run into issues and you have to solve problems, then this is the moment where the true face of a person comes into play, at least from my understanding of my life experience. And the way they help us and guide us through our problems, that's sort of like an endorsement that they are on the good side of the table and on our side of the table so far.
Do you want to add, Daniel? Because
I just want to add that, you know, when you're doing a deal with a VC and you bring an investor in, there are three main pieces of the deal. One of which is the price of the deal and the structure, and that should not be the most important thing you're looking for. I mean, you can get different prices from different investors, but of the three pieces of the deal, that's not the most important. The second one is, okay, how are you going to govern the relationship internally? The board seats the contribution, the value added from the investor side. What do we bring? I think that is the most important. How are you going to share the control? How are you going to work together to solve problems? And third one is how do you intend to exit together? And these are a number of terms that we as VCs put in every deal, but it's something that entrepreneurs have to realize that at some point we need to get our money back to give back to the investors, and that means we need to have the ability to lead an exit after 3 or 4 years, to bring the other shareholders along with us. If there's a change in shareholding, we have the ability to control that in what we call rights of first refusal and tag-along rights. And all the share transfer restrictions, and mainly to lock up the founders during the time of our investment, because we look at the business, but we invest in management. And so make sure that we are aligned with them during the duration of the investment, so we both have the same goals, the same agenda, and the same time horizon. So we all intend to get out together, either to the stock exchange or to a strategic investor or somewhere in 3 or 4 years. And that's a typical life cycle of an investment. And it's something that we spend a lot of time talking about, is what is our common strategies between us for the future of the business.
is this see-through or anything? Okay, strike two more. uh, so no, so I'm gonna push a little bit more here because I feel it's important. You said that it's gonna break a few times, right? And I know you go through a lot of emotions and doubt when you're doing through a negotiation. And when you look back, some of them seem like they were like fair and normal to have, and others were like, I cannot believe I thought like that or I went through that. So in those moments when looking back, when you saw that things are going to break, do you have the same view now as you had then? What if I were like to raise now $1 million for a company? Like, look, you're going to go through this, this, and this. That's normal. Anything else? I don't know. So what?
Well, first thing, I wouldn't raise any more money without Adrian on our team to negotiate because he fought like a lion for us. So I was like very comfortable that they are taking part of this, Adrian and Florin, our lawyer, Florian, sorry. But the thing is, as Daniel said, it's not necessarily the money that matter, and it didn't matter to us in, I don't know, it wasn't like the most important thing, but the terms of the deal, like from liquidation preference to I don't know, to warranties and some other things that made us think a lot about all the possible outcomes, like when things, and we, you know, when you negotiate such a deal, it's not the good thing that you take into consideration, but what happens if, I don't know, the Romanian IRS comes and fucks you big time, excuse my French, and I don't know, give you a fine like $500,000, what happens there? And all the things like that had to be taken into consideration. But I wouldn't change that much if I were to do it again. Maybe, I don't know, be a bit more friendly, because I feel we were a bit aggressive to them. But I like to ask Tudor to add something.
One extra detail is that before we signed this deal, we discussed with Nicoleta, then with Mihai Sfințescu, then with Bogdan Iordache, and then with Marius Genia. So and Daniel, of course. So it was kind of a marathon, how he said. I think it's very important for the entrepreneurs to get a good financial education, because I don't think we had this. And when we looked at the term sheet the first time, we were kind of shocked, let's say, by some things that were there. But if we would have done our homework earlier, there were kind of normal things to appear in the term sheet. So I don't know how this could be done. Maybe how to Hub can help with this, but entrepreneurs should educate in such matters earlier.
This whole negotiation thing put a strain or put your like. This one is out of batteries. I think. Did it like put a strain on like your relationship with the founder? Did they like put it to the test? Did you get like conflicts inside the company when doing the negotiation, or was it all like us versus them?
Okay. Okay. Short version, it was us versus them. Long answer. The good part is that after 4 years of having Adrian in the company, we were all three of us aligned in terms of vision for the company's future. So it didn't create tensions between us. We kind of knew what we wanted and tried to get to a common ground with 3TS. That was about it.
We also had one approach which might help, something like, okay, if any of us didn't want to sign, it was his right and the deal would fail, okay, for any of the between the three of us.
And this was including in the last day. So,
How many times did that happen?
If any of us in the last day didn't want to sign this, the deal would have failed. This was our deal between the three of us.
So we're gonna go off script now, just because this is how the conversation evolved, and it's slightly rude to talk about someone who's in the room. So we have one more chair there, Adi. Could you please take a seat and answer a few questions? Okay, so what I would like to ask you, so you... Oh, is Marius here? Marius? Oh! Yeah. Or come to the front. So from what I know, you joined the team as an investor, and now the guys are talking about you like a member of the team. So, and they also that you helped negotiating a lot. How did you see that? Because partly maybe you're like a member of the team, maybe emotionally, but you actually joined the company as an investor, right? And now you had another partner coming in.
I mean, probably everybody knows by now that I'm a very hands-on partner. When I'm working with a company, I like to get big. It's at some point quite executive in that company. For 1 through 3, I think in the first year, I helped them on things, executive things that were kind of missing from the company at that point. I was advising them about user experience, about the design of the application, and I helped them with resources from my friends and former collaborators, which gave results for me. And that's how things started up in the first year. And every time there was something lacking in the company, and I consider myself able to help them, like negotiating a contract, I didn't have a problem to get involved into that. But at some point, even my skills are not enough, and that's why we had a lawyer.
So, Daniel, how did you perceive, before the deal went, how did you perceive Adrian? Was he a member of the team? Was he for your founder? Was he another investor? How did that seem to you?
Our view was a hands-on angel investor, which actually gave us comfort that somebody actually been working from the outside with fresh eyes in the business. And so that, for us, that was a validation point, that they actually had taken in outside money, they'd actually taken the guidance and the direction, that they were very coachable to work with. So we looked at that as a positive, that they'd actually been through the process one time before. Now, an institutional investor like ourselves, we have much more rigorous process, and particularly the documentation as they've seen. But the fact that he was there, I think, provided a very useful bridge for then us to come in, because we weren't actually the first money in.
Is that common for you? Because I know some other deals that you've made, and all had like an angel investor. We have Malin here in the room. You said you've invested in Vector recently, and they all had like angel. Is that something that you usually do?
It is, because companies have to reach a certain critical mass for us to invest, and they can't get there just bootstrapping it. It'll take too long. And the fact that they're able to get money in and achieve some value milestones before that, usually that money comes from an angel. And so typically we are not the first money in, because when you raise money, first it's your own money, then it's your friends and family, then it's the angels, then it's the early stage VCs, then it's the late stage VCs, and we have both of those funds, and then it's private equity. And so we come in at the strata where they've already taken in a few $100,000, they've built their organization, they have some revenues and have some customers, and there's much more for us to evaluate in terms of the business prospects.
So just to take some key points, because we're almost out of time, we're going to do this differently. So if you are to give some key points of advice to a company that wants to discuss with a VC, what would you tell them to keep in mind throughout the negotiation process?
Again, first of all, I think what these guys did, do research on the VCs and find out which one is the best chemistry fit for you. Second, educate yourself on how, and there's several books out there, and I can't remember the name of the one right now. There's an excellent book on what startup entrepreneurs need to know about dealing with venture capital, the kinds of terms, understanding language, things like drag along right. That's not something you come across every day, but we do it every day in all our deals. And set the expectations. What do you want to get out of the relationship? Because that'll begin to set your priorities about how you handle negotiations. Negotiations themselves, for both sides, is a character-revealing experience. And you really learn a lot about each other by how you negotiate, what's important, and how the relationship going forward, how that marriage is going to work. So I think doing your homework beforehand and educating yourself so that you've been forewarned. So there you're forearmed with the tools you need to actually manage the negotiations with the investor.
So now, Tudor, Florin, I'm gonna spin that around. So what would you tell a VC who like starts dancing with a company that was at yours? What should they keep in mind when working with a company that didn't take money before from VC, or they just took something from an angel?
Be gentle. but the way I see it now is that getting in a deal with a VC, it's also an endorsement that what you did so far is kind of good, because they wouldn't have given you money otherwise. But it's also a big switch towards the future, because you take the money just to, the main purpose of those money is to grow and grow and grow. And it's sort of like pushing you. You gain a locomotive behind you that's trying to push. So you have to accept the new path. If you don't accept it, that it's not working. But for the VC, I think they're already, in Romania, at least my understanding would be to, look for companies that don't necessarily have that much revenue, because I know there is a market here with people wanting money. That want money and they cannot get it because of the threshold you guys are aiming for.
Thank you. I'm going to steal another 20 seconds just because I took Adrian from his nice and cozy chair and I put him on stage. I'm going to let you have like the closing remark with an advice or a takeaway from this deal. So you get to end the panel.
An advice for whom?
For the audience regarding...
I think that if you can get to this stage of a company where it needs and can convince a VC, you should be very proud of yourself. I think it's something that not many companies achieve. And like Florin said, it's the proof that you did things right. So you should probably be looking for that and see it as a new beginning, like the guys have seen it.
So that's it from you. We're going to take 2 questions from the room. Okay. I'm going to give you my mic. Such a nice guy.
I'll steal 10 seconds for a few comments rather than questions, because all the questions I've asked already to the team. First off, I want to say how excited we are to be on board 123 Contact Forum. A great company, excellent entrepreneurs, excellent alignment of objectives, and talking about the process, and then if it were difficult or easy, it's always about aligning an interest, and I think we've succeeded to do that, even though obviously they were slightly different interests when we started off. I would also like to give some serious credit to Bogdan, who actually was the one who started the process. So kudos to Bogdan for initiating this great deal. Also, I'm convinced that in retrospect, the founders and Adrian too will consider that taking us on board was probably the best business decision they ever made, because our intention is obviously to take this company to the next level. Probably not quite a unicorn, but if it's a 1/10 of a unicorn, then we're probably all, between us, we're all happy with the outcome. Also, in terms of what we do for the company, recently Florin was in the Silicon Valley on a trip organized by 3TS, and by the way, you made a great impression there from the feedback I got. So that's a very good thing. Already, important contacts in that area, very interesting area for us. We help and we contribute to, for instance, senior management recruitment. Like we've enhanced the team already with a very senior marketing manager, Irina, a great addition to the team. So we are helping with a few things that are not necessarily about the money. And finally, about 3TS in general, it should be known that, as Mihai is also here in the room, it should be known that we're already having no less than 8 active investments in Romania between the 2 funds of 3TS. And I think over time it was more than a dozen investments, including the ones that were already realized, like the Avangate exit, Regina Maria exit, and other successful exits. So if you look at the number of companies, we are arguably the most active VC fund in Romania, certainly in technology, because I don't think there is another fund having so many investments at this level. And the best is yet to come, because we are announcing a few more investments in the months to come, in the weeks to come. Actually, we are announcing one more, and then after the announcement of Vector yesterday, and probably by February another 2 or 3 investments. Thank you.
So we're gonna take 2 short questions, and if you're a VC, you're not allowed to speak. We had none. So any short questions from the room to the guys on stage? Okay, if you're a VC, you're allowed to speak. No? Okay, great. So can we get a mic there?
Just shout the question.
Yeah, shout the question. I'm gonna repeat the question. Let's get this mic there.
Hi, this is Daniel from Yash. I just had a very quick question for Florin about his experience in Silicon Valley. How did you see it firsthand? And what do you think is the next step for the entrepreneurship ecosystem here to move in the right direction?
Okay. Well, they managed to, and I already gave them this feedback, they managed to convince me that they are part of a very big network with connections, because we had only this view of them here and the guys we met, but I went to San Francisco and I participated to, it was called CEO Summit, Drepner Network. Actually, this fund is part of a bigger network of funds from all over the world, and they had, like, I don't know, 30, 50 people that were all presenting, shaking hands and introducing themselves. So that's a good thing. Regarding the entrepreneurship, I think we need more success stories and people returning money they get from exits into the ecosystem to support growth.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Florin. Thank you, Tudor. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Marius. So we're going to move the pitches. Give them a round of applause. Thank you for your time.